So I'm just gonna rant here for a bit and see where this all goes, okay? I am completely obsessed with the Candace show. Um, I am like very much obsessed with this. I don't know what it is about it. It's very intoxicating. It's better than 90 Day Fiance for damn sure, okay? It is more interesting than Sister Wives or, you know, any of that stuff. I don't know how much of whatever Candace says I believe, but I will say that a lot of the things, like I looked up some of the stuff that she was talking about, and they're true things, okay? But what one has to do with the other, I'm not really sure. I'm not making that necessarily connection. Um, As far as the whole Erica Kirk thing, I think she does act like a Black Widow. And I have been saying it since before all that. Okay. You can look at how um, he was basically a freaking goober. Okay. Um, Not my cup of tea in any way, shape, or form. Basic goober. Okay. And here's this lady who clearly wants fame. Okay. Um, she clearly wants fame. Okay, she was a failed reality TV personality, and it doesn't look like her pageantry went further than just being Miss U.S. Miss Arizona. That's basically where it stopped. It never took any additional real steps to that kind of a career. I don't think she really had a modeling career or an acting career. And I think that she wanted those things, okay? I'm not saying that she isn't a pretty girl. She's a pretty girl, okay? But there's a lot of pretty girls out there. She has blonde hair and she's kind of pale, making her look very washed out. So that doesn't really bow well for cameras. If you look at the people they actually have on TV, very few of them are white. And I'm when I say blonde hair, I mean Erica has like that white blonde hair, which is not natural, by the way. Um, but she has extremely light skin, which makes her look extremely washed out. And I do know that. I mean, I have pretty light hair and a very light complexion, and I do look washed out a lot of times. Most of the time, I really could care less. I mean, I don't put on makeup. I just look the way I look, and if you don't, I'm not here to impress anybody. So, and that's kind of how I live my life. My whatever. Anyways, so I personally think, and I said it in the first video right after he passed away, which, to be honest, I'm not. I think he's a, like I said, I think he's a goober. And I think that she married him for fame and money. Maybe not money. I didn't know her background. I really don't know much about him or his background. And people say, oh, they're groomed for this. And maybe they are. Maybe people are. I don't know. You know, um, what my feel is on Erica, though, at this point, is that definitely she killed him, or she had him killed. Maybe she hired Tyler Robinson and his furry girlfriend, his furry trans girlfriend, whatever. Maybe he hired him. Maybe, you know, maybe the parents cut that guy off and the other kid's parents cut him off. Maybe the parents cut the kids off because they were, you know, whatever they are. And they needed money. People do a lot of strange things for money, you know, and stuff. Um, so maybe that's true. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing seems awfully weird and odd, and you know, and everything. And we had all this stuff. I mean, that whole Boulder flamethrower guy, I think there's something off about that guy. Um, and then you had the people outside the Israeli embassy or whatever. And that guy was kind of strange and sketchy, and like maybe that was a setup too. Um, and then you had the Australian whatever was happening in that beach, whatever it was called, out there in Australia. That definitely looks like a setup. It looks like they all look like false flags, and Israel is known for false flags. That's their kind of that's their trademark, false flags. And they've done it for everything, and they always get what they want when they do it too. They got nukes one time because they did this false flag and they worked on this stuff, and they got Kennedy killed. And people say, and which I don't know, man. It seems that way. I mean, they seem to be involved in a lot of shit for our country. You had the 5 dancing Israelis, and our trade centers getting blown up, and I mean, I don't know. Everything seems afoot with it. So, whatever. Okay, so let's explore it and stuff. But Erica acts like a black widow, not a grieving widow. Like I said, okay? And then, I don't know if I said it here or something else or whatever, but I'm going to tell you, I watch a lot of ID channel crap, and she acts like a black widow. Literally. Okay? She's not grieving. She's probably happy he's dead. What I feel really sad about is in the future, their children are going to know this, and they're going to feel a certain way over it. I don't know what it's going to come down to, what kind of feelings they'll have with it or not have with it. But yeah, I think they're going to question a lot of things from her. And I do think that she's going to move very quickly and remarry as well. And who it's going to be, we're going to find out. Okay? The story's going to keep unfolding. Maybe in the next season, 2026, we'll find out. We'll get a hint of who she'll marry. 2026. Seems like, though, people like Alex Jones or whatever are mad at Candace because they're like, oh, they're ruining. And that Tim Pool guy, oh, we're not going to be able to win the midterms. I am so over that, and that is why I actually like Candace, okay? I came from mostly Democrat voting, okay? And in 2024, I literally, for the only time in my ever voting life, and I am a voter, okay? I've been voting. I voted in most elections since I was able to. I voted none for the president. In fact, this is the first time I didn't vote for the Democrat candidate. I mean, I voted for Hillary. Like, I knew, first of all, I knew that there was a 50-50 shot that Trump would win in 2016, but I also knew there was, I mean, it just, I couldn't bring myself, and I had hoped there was enough disgust for him, and he still disgusts me, He is, I call him Donnie the Holocauster for a reason. I mean, he is our president of war. What he has created. War, 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 and more war. All he wants is war. And I don't know if it's because, he got all that money to, bend the knee to Israel from the Adelson lady, that Marion Adelson. But then he's got that other guy saying, oh, first Jewish president. Is he Jewish now? Is he a convert? Where does his loyalty lie? These are the things that make me so anxious about that, okay? I feel like his loyalty lies elsewhere now. It doesn't lie with the United States, It lies with his pocketbook, and we just don't have the money to buy him. We can't pay for him. And I think that, I don't know. But anyways, I'm having fun watching it. I mean, you got Candace, you got Tucker, and then you got MTG or whatever, Marjorie Taylor Greene, yeah, that lady. She's kind of making me laugh. And then, you know, you got other people who are like acting, then you got that Hansen guy or whatever, Hansel or whatever, Hansen or whatever, Than guy, whatever. He's a big podcaster guy. You got him, and there's something off about him too. I feel like there's something very off about that guy. You know, people say there's things wrong with Nick Fontes. I think there is something a little bit off about him too. I mean, I don't. I think there's something very off about him. You know. And what I don't like about these people like that is they still want us divided. You know. And I don't think that we should be divided. I mean, but I don't see us uniting either. So we'll see where things go. 2026, and we'll see where the, Candace show breaks out. I'm having fun with that. I love it. I am loving it. That is not the only reason I think that there's something wrong with, I mean, obviously, if you watch Wolves in Financing and watch his, what he has put together on the tpusa thing and all of this money, it is millions of dollars that flew into a P.O. box in a strip mall in Texas, all going to the state representative of one of the state representatives in Texas, okay, or Arizona, okay. This whole thing with this is like so weird, okay. And then the guy gets killed, and it's this guy. I mean, seriously. These people are always first suspects. If you watch, any show or whatever, any of the shows, and, Wives with Knives, or, Who the Bleep Did I Marry, or whatever it may be, Whenever someone murders somebody else, or whenever someone goes missing, whenever someone's killed, they always look at the spouse first. The spouse is always the first suspect. And then followed by following the money. And all of this money flowed from one place to another place. They got these 4 parts of tpusa. It seemed like 3 of them are shell companies that Charlie Kirk wasn't even a beneficiary for. Which, I don't know, it just seems so weird. Okay, it really does. It all seems so weird to me. But I do believe she might have had something to do with it. I'm going to watch it unfold. I think it's hilarious. And if she didn't, I mean, she wouldn't be acting like she is. Okay? It's their reaction to what is being reported that is making us all think they're all guilty. Okay? Rob McCoy, again, Erica Kirk, again, Tyler Boyer. Who else is in this whole mix of it all? And covering up, I mean, I think that, like, Alex Jones and Tim Pool are helping to cover this crap up. But I think the whole thing is funny, and I'm entertained by her. I come on here to basically say I like Candace. I'm entertained by her. I don't know if all of what she's saying is true, but it's certainly entertaining. And I'm sure at least half of what she's saying is facts. It isn't some off-the-wall thought process. And if you look at people as like, oh, how could you believe that? Okay, if you would have asked me a few years ago if I would have thought that some rich financing guy would be hiring hookers to torture them in his Manhattan penthouse. I would have said, you're crazy. They're not doing that. But they are doing that. That is exactly what they're doing. Okay? And not just that, I mean, you got people, they do the fucked up as shit. And just look at the last, few months of 2024 and what we have seen. Okay? You got that one family, okay? The dad, the stepmom, the stepdaughter and girlfriend of the stepdaughter starving this 14-year-old girl, and she was, I guess, 10 when he got her and stuff, abusing her and, starving her to the point she weighed 35 pounds. And she was limp. She was almost dead. And then you got the weird people, okay? There was, I don't know if it was where it was. I think it was Texas. I'm not even sure what state it was. They found this lady handcuffed to this punching bag stand in the garage, half naked, okay? And they refused to allow her to leave the house. Why? I don't know. I mean, this is some weird ass shit. You look at these people, and the people are doing this to her. I mean, they're like shooting her with, a BB gun. I mean, if you would have told me years ago that people would, and I'm going to be honest with you, when I was reading on Facebook several years ago that our whole country is run by child pedo sex traffickers who are Satanist sex traffickers, probably drinking baby blood now. I haven't seen the baby blood drinking, but the rest of it has been confirmed. And so I have to assume maybe they are drinking the baby blood. I don't know. I mean, the rest of this has been confirmed. There's fucking Satan-worshipping sex pedos running our countries. And they're not just running our countries, they're running all the countries around the world. I mean, if you would have told me that, and then look, I originally, when this whole thing with that and everything and the baby blinking blood and stories all came out and Ashton Kutcher being tied to it, but after watching Danny Masterson trial and how Ashton Kutcher stood up for him, I'm like, yeah, that's possible too. I mean, shit. I mean, he's involved in human trafficking through the cult, the Scientology cult. I mean, what makes me think that he wouldn't be for anything else? I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, so I owe all them people an apology because I was so stupid to not believe that this is very true. And if all the shit that I have seen, okay, we got that lady, we got the fucking people torturing the kid, okay, we got that Manhattan thing. I mean, these are all just recent stories. I mean, this is crazy shit. Crazy shit. I can't believe this freaking shit that comes out and people are doing, And okay, it's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, if they're willing to do this, why not other things, The movie Hostel, do we really have rich people paying to murder people somewhere? Probably. I mean, there is proof that what happened in, I think it was Romania, rich people were literally paying to hunt human beings. Hunt them. Like what was happening in Wrecked. And then, they come out with all these shows and, half comic shows or whatever, and then they act like, well, why would we believe this stuff? I mean, yeah, maybe they come out with them, but we find out this is what it looks like. Okay? Even down to like some of the weirdest crap ever, like the Space Force symbol. That looks like the symbol for whatever it was, the people from Star Trek. You know? That little symbol that they wore, the Confederacy or whatever, whoever they were, that looks like what the symbol is. You know, I'm like, okay, this all seems like a little weird, you know, so, and then you look at some of the stuff that they put on the TV years ago and now we're now doing. So, you know, I think this is what they do. They hunt humans. They torture humans and, you know, children are traded off for sex all the time and they're murdered too. If you give a really deep dive into the whole readoption, okay, like people adopt kids out of the foster care and then they turn around and they readopt these children. Okay, like it's not working out for my home. I need to get this kid out of my house, and there's this whole they have whole Facebook pages on them. I never really heard about all this stuff, but you get on fucking TikTok a few years ago where information was flowing before the Zionists took over. And you'll hear these stories of children who this have happened to, and sometimes the children just go missing. Have they been sacrificed? Oh, I mean, these people seem to be in some satanic cult. I mean, I kind of thought the whole Skull and Bones thing was just kind of funny and like trolling and all this stuff, and kind of just like, you know, rich kid frat crap, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not really, I mean, but the more you look into it, these people are fucking crazy. They're fucking batshit crazy. You know? And someone said something, and maybe this is true, that maybe the reason that these people do act like this is because they have so much money that they've been able to buy anything and anyone they want in their whole life. And so they're extremely bored. And so their mind goes to the extremist extents of it, and they want to do weird, sick, crazy things. I don't know. Okay? I don't know. I mean, it's all weird. So I wouldn't put it past any of them. And if you look, I mean, I was unaware of how much money tpusa was flowing in and out of campaigns. Okay? Literally. It seems like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, every election cycle is flowing in and out of tpusa. Okay? And the money is very much crazy, and I don't know. Anyways, this has been a very long rant for me. I'm gonna just kind of leave it here. It's not like anybody watches this stuff. This is more for me in the future. Me. So that's where I'm gonna leave my thought pattern process on it. I just want people to know, I want me to know in the future, that I find that, and so I can honestly say that it was me. I find, you know, Candace Owens funny, and the truth of the matter is that I stuck around with Candace in spite of what I think maybe crazy things going on with her, because of her unity when she speaks. If you listen to some of the times that she speaks, and she wants us all to get along, she is sick and tired of the right versus the left, and I'm sick and tired of right versus left. I want us to kind of meet in the middle, okay? We don't have to agree on everything, okay? And in fact, we shouldn't always agree on everything, but we can agree on a lot of things. And the things we can agree on, we should be able to say, okay, we agree on X, Y, and Z. How do we get this? Okay, you have these thoughts. This is how you want to go. This is how I want to go. Maybe we do a little bit of your stuff, a little bit of my stuff, and we kind of meet in the middle, and we see if we can achieve the outcome that we both want, because we both want the same outcome. And I think that that is really where I want to be. I don't want to go to my corner, and I'm not going to my fucking corner anymore. Okay, I'm just not. I'm done. I'm done with that shit. Okay, I'm not voting for anybody, okay, that is unwilling to denounce Israel. And I want them to support the BDS. I mean, I'll give on the supporting BDS. If they come out and they condemn Israel, the foreign country of Israel, and say what they are doing is wrong, and I, as your representative, will not support this, I will give them my vote. But if they are unable to do that, they are not getting my vote. And if nobody is unable to do that, my vote will go to nobody. I literally wrote none in the president's section. Okay? I've never, ever. In fact, even when I'm unsure, I just generally vote for the candidate that I think is either more representative of me, or I vote for who is the least religious. Because they all seem to be very religious. Okay? So I generally go to that way, especially when I don't know about it, because I do think, I personally, I don't believe in anything anymore. I used to be spiritual. I used to, I was Catholic growing up, and then everything, I went from, being spiritual to just basically not believing in anything, okay? We're here, we're whatever. I think our brain kind of works like a computer. I wouldn't put it past anybody to try to upload all of your thoughts and memories and try to replicate your personality to say that you're going to be uploading in computer, but the reality is that you will not be uploading computer. A thought of you, which might be helpful to people who the living. Everything is done for the living. So anyways, that's a whole nother subject. But so I do generally, if I can avoid, if I don't have someone I like what they had to say, I do generally go with the least religious. And it doesn't matter what religion, because I find them all just as equally I find them all equal. Okay, they all have good parts about them, but they also all have bad parts about them. And I also find that Judaism, Islam, and Christianity share the same God. So they're the same freaking religion. They're just different. They're like saying I'm Catholic and you're Lutheran. So they're just different sections of it. They come from the same place. Anyways, I just want to make sure I say these things, but what makes me stick around with Candace is that, and, I find it very entertaining. I am laughing over the whole situation, and I do think Erica Kirk, I actually really believe Erica Kirk had something to do with her husband's murder. Obviously, she didn't physically pull the trigger, okay? And we all know that he was against Israel. He started to be against Israel. So, and millions of dollars were flowing from his company to shell companies and paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars, or, millions of dollars, was going to some mailbox. This business ran out of a mailbox. I mean, all of that's so weird too. It's all weird and strange. Okay? So, we'll see what happens in the future. And we'll see where this actually goes in 2026.